I'm thrilled to kickstart this panel with a powerhouse lineup who are steering the course of automotive innovation. This stage has had many rock stars in the past, and it's my pleasure today to welcome 4 industry rock stars to the stage to join me in a powerful discussion on the future state of our vehicle technology. I have a lot of stimulating questions for you guys today, and I want to get started and jump right into it. And Brandon, I'd like to start with you.
No pressure.
All right, so software-defined vehicles, we're hearing a lot about that these days. So can you help us understand what that is and why this audience should care about it?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And first of all, thank you for having us, and I hope everyone got an opportunity to look, touch, feel, and possibly even drive our vehicles out there. So what an opportunity. You know, software-defined vehicle, I feel like that's the new buzz. It used to be connected vehicle, now it's software-defined vehicle. And I'm sure we all have different opinions of that, and it's going to continue to evolve and change. I would say from a Rivian perspective, the way we look at it and we define it is when you have the ability to basically fine-tune and operate every interaction on the vehicle, from unlocking the vehicle to closing a door to charging and acceleration. When you have that capability to fine-tune that, that's what we look at as a software-defined vehicle. When you own and control the entire stack all the way down to the module level, to the ECM level, not only does it give you the ability to make minor adjustments as you go, but the vehicle gets better over time and it grows. And I think that's the relevant part to a commercial application of a software-defined vehicle, that you're investing in something today that's going to be different tomorrow, and it's likely going to be better and grow. So long the days of a static vehicle that's loaded with fixed software at the manufacturing level, or just infotainment software where a UI changes or something like that. This is deep vehicle level modification where every interaction is able to be tweaked. So it's pretty powerful.
Pretty powerful in just the beginning, right?
Yeah,
more
just
to come.
The start.
Yeah, all right, Michelle, I want to turn to you next. I think the fleet industry is so unique in the sense that it is a collaboration of partners, and I think our Connect conference has been a great example of that. Can you explain to us, through your ecosystem, how you work with partners to develop applications and solutions to bring to market?
Absolutely. First, thank you for the invitation to be here. Partnerships are really key. What we have learned and what we all know is there's not a one-size-fits-all solution for every customer. And establishing those partnerships to meet the customer need is incredibly important, especially because our customers have mixed fleets. So having partners that can allow us to take full advantage of the GM connected vehicles is incredibly important. And Geotab is a great example of one of those partnerships that we've been able to help serve our joint customers overall, but we're continuing to build those partnerships, and we have some additional partnerships with companies here in attendance, and look forward to continuing to grow, ultimately to serve our customer needs.
So Chris, we'll go to you next. Stellantis offers data across 14 global brands, and you've made a lot of investments this year in technology. You've announced those publicly. Along those same lines, share with us how Stellantis is integrating telematics solutions across your portfolio of brands.
Well, first, thank you for having me here.
Welcome.
I think when you asked me, I think you failed to say that there'll be 3,000 people on the same stage like Katy Perry and Carrie Underwood. So no pressure, but so it's great to be here. So thank you. So in 2020, Fiat Chrysler merged with Peugeot, and that's the formation of Stellantis. With that come 14 iconic brands. With this, we knew right away that in order to succeed in the evolution of new digital world, we formed a software entity. With software entity, we realized that to support that, data is the key fact. We need to make sure that the car has clean, efficient data that comes across the board with every vehicle. So we created a data entity called Global Analytic Data. And with that, we said, okay, how do we go to market? So we last year, we started a entity called Mobilisight, and that's a data business unit. Essentially, what they do is make sure that all the data with all the APIs is shared with all the third-party customers. Mobility is changing every day. We keep seeing new demands and so forth. So we have to make sure that whatever tools we have to be agile, we have to be quick, and therefore we're walking away from the old hardware type thing. With software, we can move quicker. So we create applications specifically for data that allow us to customize our data, any attribute, customized to the vehicle, the time it collects the data, and the frequency it sends to the cloud. So this is customizable to every car that's out there.
So Dave, on to you next. Now that we understand a little bit more about software-defined vehicles and some of the OEM strategies on telematics solutions, I want to shift to market trends. From your perspective, what are the most significant trends shaping the automotive industry in terms of telematics and software-defined vehicles?
You know, with our hundreds of thousands of fleet customers we work with, we keep hearing one word, and that's uptime. They want to keep their vehicles on the road. And to do that, there's a couple of key building blocks that need to be put in place. Number one is connectivity. Ford made the decision in 2019 to make 100% of our vehicles connected. There's about 30% of the light-duty vehicles in the fleet world today that are connected out there, and we think that's going to double by about 2026. So we've taken that next step, and then we said, okay, now we're getting data off the vehicle, we're getting OEM, class, deep diagnostic data. Let's tie that back into our platforms and our systems so that we can then tie it into our physical repair networks. When we think about uptime, we're thinking about not just about getting the vehicle of the day, but we're thinking about how we complete the circle and ensuring that our vehicles, our customers' vehicles, are going in, being repaired incredibly quickly, and then get back on the road.
I hear uptime repeatedly over and over from customers, extremely important. So Brandon, along those same lines on market trends, what are you seeing in the industry?
Yeah, absolutely, and I'd agree. I mean, it all comes down to uptime, right? Efficiency and effectiveness for the fleet. Double-clicking on that a little bit, I'd say a few that pop out to me, because we could take this in a lot of different ways, but maintenance is one I'd say is evolving. I think back in the day, in the era of the connected vehicle, it was more, hey, can I get an odometer feed off so I could automate a mileage-based interval maintenance, right? A tire rotation or something like that. Now it's more around prognostics and predicting based on behavioral-based changes, such as driving behavior, topography of the road, weather, whatnot, to really allow a fleet operator to maximize their operation. Continuing on that, I think safety is another big one now. Vehicle safety, right, back to uptime, but also driver safety. Being able to leverage and harness the power of a software-defined vehicle and real-time data coming off to coach your drivers to ensure that they have a safe operating vehicle. And I think lastly, kind of looking at those in the rear is data control and optimization. Again, back to the era of the connected vehicle, it was just exciting to get data off the vehicle, right? And share it and look for it. Now that we're getting 30, 40, 50 gigs of data off the vehicle, it's not really sustainable, right? The telcos, they love it. But you know, we're now looking at where can we optimize that, right? What can we do on the edge? Where can we only pull the impactful data elements off the vehicle that still lead to an actionable insight, but we're not just pulling all this data. So we can go on, but you know, I think it's really making it topical and making it relevant, all coming back to optimizing TCO, uptime, efficiency, and effectiveness, making the most out of your investment.
Uptime, optimization, safety, all go hand in hand. So Michelle, I want to switch to you. You and I have been on several panels in the past together, and I've heard you talk about driver experience and how important that is. Can you share with us what you're doing at GM to help promote that and ensure that that customization from the driver experience is embedded in your vehicle?
So I'm going to build off a little bit of this uptime theme. As we think about the driver experience, we feel that our job is to help the driver meet their commitments throughout their day. And this can come across in a number of different ways. Safety obviously is an overriding priority across many customers and aligns very well with GM and OnStar's priority. So we want to help our customers and ultimately the drivers meet those needs. So I'm going to give a couple of examples in which we focus on driver experience. In the safety area, we have an in-vehicle coaching product, which actually helps to coach the driver's behavior in the moment, helping to correct unsafe driving behaviors so that they can meet their commitments while being safe, reducing risk overall in the fleet. And in a 30-day study that we did with a customer using in-vehicle coaching, we not only saw the impact to those driving behaviors, but we saw some added benefits as well, leading to the total cost of ownership. So not only, 80% reduction across those, reducing hard brake, hard acceleration, speeding, we saw benefits in idling through coaching, which leads to, and what we saw is fuel savings overall with this coaching. And obviously that plays right into the total cost of ownership. And in that 30-day study, what resulted was really $29 savings in fuel cost per vehicle. So when you start to scale that, that's really meaningful. So helping to coach that driver through the experience in the vehicle, leading to meaningful impacts and results to the business.
Wow, you hit a lot of key points there. And Chris, I want to go to you next. So focusing a little bit more on that driver experience. I've worked with a lot of fleets over the years. Operations vary, drivers' needs vary, just a lot of complex things that can come into that. So how customizable are the features in your vehicles to meet the specific needs of fleet and commercial operations?
Yeah, that's a very tough question because I tell you, 14 iconic brands globally. There's so much diverse from PSA to FCA, the whole electrical architecture. So the first thing we did was we started developing we call it Stellar Brain. To do any customization, first you have to normalize all 14 iconic brands have the same electrical architecture before we can hop into customization. So with the Stellar Brain, we're able to all software driven. Utilizing OTA, we can actually move faster with new products and features that connect all of them together at one time. So that's what we use. That Stellar Brain is our bread and butter where we commonize all electrical architectures we move forward.
Dave, so Ford recently announced in January several new and improved software and technology features to give fleet managers more insight and control over how their vehicles are operated. So can you share how Ford is integrating software solutions into your vehicles to enhance telematics and the overall driver experience?
Sure. It's a tough thing to do, actually. If you think about it, there's how many different types of models of vehicles, and in any vehicle there could be up to around 150 different modules inside that vehicle, and each of those modules up until now was controlled by or built and designed by maybe a vendor or a customer or partner. So it's a very complex situation in how you embed software and enterprise class fleet solutions into vehicles. From that standpoint, though, Ford's now taking the next step, and we've decided to create an all new electrical platform where we're actually vertically integrating the software into our vehicle. It's a first for legacy OEMs to do this, and that's going to lead to much greater insights and control of the vehicle. We've already got things out there like what we call fleet start inhibit, which is the ability to keep a vehicle from starting. So you can prevent theft, prevent usage after hours, and make sure the vehicle is being used in an appropriate fashion. We also have things like control features, speed control will be coming up. But that extrapolates even further when you become a software-defined vehicle and you have deeper integration and deeper control of that vehicle. You can now get down to controlling individual modules within the platform. That will lead to really industry-changing types of functionality for fleets.
I want to expand on that a little bit, Brandon. Talk to us about how Rivian is doing that. How are you able to make that driver experience a little bit deeper out there, and how's that relating to the overall driver experience, and in particular, telematics?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Rivian's extremely unique in where we're positioned in the sense that we have developed a software-defined vehicle intentionally from the ground up. So we own and control all of our software. We own and control our entire stack. We build some of our own modules. So in that sense, you have to think when we went to market, putting the van aside, which with our launch partner of Amazon, and now that we're going to non-Amazon customers, but we over-indexed on the consumer side of the business with our initial vehicles, right? Our pickup truck and our SUV, in the sense that it's extremely fast, it accelerates at a rapid pace, it's got all the bells and whistles, and when you start to integrate that into the commercial space, it's not necessarily a fleet vehicle in that sense, right? And having the power of a software-defined vehicle and listening to our customers and listening to the feedback there of, hey, what if you did this? What if you did this? What if you did this? It allows us to go back, considering we have a common platform across all of our vehicles, and not necessarily static customizing for the fleet, but providing the tools for the fleet operator or the fleet to make that decision on their own, right? Providing a admin console or APIs that allow them to adjust max speed or toggle drive modes on and off, key management across various personnel roles and access, all the way down to profiles to maximize efficiency. When someone gets in a vehicle, it loads all their settings up. So we're approaching it that way, where we're not trying to go into all these bespoke custom software applications per fleet. Rather, we're trying to build a harmonious layer there and providing those tools back to the fleet to manage it how they seem fit in their in their own operation.
It's just fascinating to think how the future is going to change for the drivers, right? And I know many of you, when I talk with some of our customers, trying to find drivers and keep drivers is really difficult. So I think some of these features, being able to give them this type of technology in the future is really going to help enhance that. So Michelle, I want to switch to you. I don't think there's anything more powerful than understanding the customer's needs and solutioning for their needs. So can you share with us from your perspective, how do you take that feedback from those customers and then morph that into your technology and what your future is going to be?
The customer feedback is so incredibly important and a key part of the product development process overall. So just like every one of us do, we use many different forms of research to get that customer feedback, whether it's panels or large market research, using ride-alongs and empathy research to kind of live a day in the life to get that really valuable feedback overall. And, as we've been doing this, one thing that we've really heard consistently is, can you just make some of this core vehicle information available as part of the vehicle? So it's so easy for us to adopt and use this to manage our business. And as a result of listening to that feedback, it's really formed a formation of GM's overall strategy with connected vehicles and ensuring that it's easy for customers to use and get access to. Focused in a couple of areas: safety and protecting drivers and protecting the vehicles. And the second part is vehicle maintenance and maintaining the health of the vehicle, keeping those vehicles on the road, meeting and delivering to customers overall. And as a result of listening to all that feedback and focusing on those two key priority areas, just recently announced in model year 25 vehicles across all of our brands at GM, included in the purchase of the vehicle are important features such as automatic crash response and the vehicle health data that I just talked about. And then additionally now is in-vehicle voice and navigation so that those drivers can easily get to and use the navigation features without having to mess with anything. They can simply use that with voice and the Google built-in information.
Fascinating. So Chris, let's continue to expand on the driver experience. What's happening at Stellantis? How are you focused on driver experience and building that into your vehicles?
So with Stellar Brain, we have commonized electrical architectures and stuff, but then how do you share that? How do you bring all the third-party components? And that's why we do Stellar's Smart Cockpit. So with the whole software world now, what we're doing is saying, okay, so how do we bring this to market as far as the customer experience inside the car and bring in different components? With Smart Cockpit, we're able to utilize a whole bunch of sensors, bring it all together into the Stellar Brain. The brain and also different third-party partners we can integrate into the car or into the cloud. So by doing that, we're not limited to any hardware. We're strictly let it control by the software, and things like different hardware such as, like, say, smart keys or driver alert, safety driving, all that stuff, just live coaching, make sure the drivers are safe for the fleet customers. All that stuff is we can move a lot faster now with Smart Cockpit, and it can be commonized among all different 14 brands. So.
Fantastic. All right, Dave, so I want to move to you. Ford has many partnerships and collaboration, across your portfolio of products and solutions. In the context of software-defined vehicles, how is Ford Pro working with external partners to continue to collaborate and build those compatible services, applications, and solutions?
So as I mentioned earlier, like any single vehicle has hundreds, 150 different modules in it. Collaboration with partners and software providers is key to success. So it's really intrinsic to Ford to ensure that we are collaborating with those partners. From that standpoint, we also are very focused on keeping an open platform. We want to make sure that, we're still including and using Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and from a commercial standpoint, what we've heard from our customers is they want to have an all-in-one easy solution. So we're partnering with some of the best-in-breed players for our own intelligence platform. So we've partnered with Lytx for our video telematics, with Fleetio for our fleet management aspects, to bring the best-of-breed solutions, make it easy for our fleet customers, and ensure that their vehicles, of course, are staying up and on the road. And lastly, from an overall ecosystem perspective, we believe in openness. And we believe that some fleets may like our solutions, some people may like Geotab, and that's perfectly fine. And we've committed and partnered with Geotab on supplying OEM-grade diagnostic data, ECM data, and we're very committed to this, to do this now and continue in the future, and of course, increase the volume, the type, the quality, and the services to fleets to be able to use those great embedded modems and OEM data that exists.
It's exciting because, I mean, we talk a lot about the ecosystem and partnerships and collaboration, right? So having that open platform, allowing others to build on top of what you have and offer customization is just so important in where we are in this era of digital and moving forward. So Brandon, I want to shift to you. So we've talked a lot about customization, but what about upgradability? So these vehicles can be on the road for a long time, and as things change, how are you handling that? How are you able to upgrade the vehicle once the vehicles are out on the road and already in operation and give those new enhancements?
Absolutely. I think that's one of the coolest things about working for a company like Rivian is that's core to how we operate, right? Even when we're working with third-party partners and we start talking about OTA cadence and how we update our vehicles, and it's not a once-a-year type deal for us. It's not just a firmware update. I mean, we have a monthly entire vehicle software OTA cadence. We have built and manage our own OTAs in-house and from the whole entire platform perspective. So upgrading and continuously improving the vehicle is something that's core to our brand and our product offering. I would say it's a mix of our own roadmap, right? We have a 3-year roadmap right now that has all these awesome vehicle software enhancements and minor improvements. But we also listen to our customers, right? Whether it's a Reddit post or a market intelligence panel or whatnot. These aren't things that are just being read by a moderator and kind of going into a black box somewhere. We legitimately sit down and talk about that as a leadership community, and we're like, wow, this is really valuable insight, and we need to do this, we need to do that, and it's really cool to be able to do that. So again, coming back to the software-defined vehicle, when you own and operate the entire stack, and you don't have to proxy through a tier 1 or do a change request, and you can make those enhancements, it really gives you almost unlimited power in that sense to do that, right? And we've done some really neat pushes from software, right? From an engineer saying, hey, my grandparents can't necessarily step up onto the vehicle. Well, shoot, let's leverage the air suspension in the vehicle and offer a kneel mode and allow the vehicle to tilt down. Or in the sense of a commercial offering, right? Having a fleet mode that allow either the driver or the fleet operator to make adjustments real time. So again, that's something that our vehicles will continuously improve over time and get better. We'll listen to our customers, and as this industry continues to evolve, so will our vehicles.
Do you see a world where you can actually upgrade an individual vehicle, or is it mass across all the vehicles? Would someone be able to customize an individual vehicle?
Yeah, I think there's such a fine line there, right? How far do you go? Allowing like widget movements and all these unique customizations. I think at the surface, that's there today, right? From lighting customizations and other features. I think as the industry catches up, I think auto is still this scary unknown from a third-party ecosystem standpoint. You have so much customization on your cell phone, on your smart TV, on your tablet, and we want that in the vehicle, but there's no standardization right now, and it's very expensive. There are long design cycles, and you have to dedicate and continuously improve. So I think it's gonna evolve very quickly over time. So not saying never. It needs to be stable enough to be able to offer to the masses. Otherwise, you're really isolating yourself.
Just at the beginning, the best is yet to come.
It's just the beginning. Yeah.
I love it. So Michelle, along those same lines, customization. How are you incorporating customization into your vehicles, specific to fleet and commercial operations?
Yeah, so I mentioned earlier, there's not a one-size-fits-all, but as we think about customization, we actually think about beyond the vehicle, right? So the whole ecosystem is incredibly important for the overall operation. So as we think about beyond the vehicle, this is where the connected vehicle and telematics come into play, or parts and service, or energy and infrastructure planning comes into play as well. And we think that across the GM ecosystem, we have the breadth of knowledge and capabilities to support these unique needs and help create custom, holistic solutions for fleet customers. And that foundation really formed our move from GM Fleet to GM Involved, where we work as an entire GM ecosystem across those pillars that I mentioned: mobility, energy, insights, and growth, where we can come with all of the expertise that our GM team members have and all of the products and solutions to really create those custom solutions for customers overall.
I think today more than ever, people want that customization. As we mentioned
Absolutely.
earlier, operations vary, needs vary, et cetera. So, Chris, I want to move to you next. Telematics data, right? A lot we can do with it, a lot around predictive analytics, predictive maintenance. Can you share with us how Stellantis is using that data, telematics data in particular, to handle predictive analytics and where you're going with that in the future?
No, maintenance is a big topic. It's dear to my heart, especially for fleet customers. Like I think, so we look at maintenance. There are three types, right? The first one is that as OEM we have scheduled maintenance, okay, based on engineering the vehicle. I came from the engineering side, and we did, this is what the maintenance schedule should be based on the vehicle. But we all know that not all drivers are the same, right? So maintenance cannot be the same for every cars, every drivers. The second type of maintenance is the reactive. This is the most scariest one. It's when it's a breakdown, costly to our fleet customers, and we want to avoid that. Third is, this is one I love, right? The predictive that we want to ask questions, right? So now, how do you do predictive modeling? And this is where, that's why in order to form a software entity, we should have a global analytic. And this is where all the data scientists, and they love data. More data using AI. We probably hear so much about even machine learning. And when I say data, it's not just from the car data. They gather data from outside the environment and everything to predict, and that's what all that data incorporate into the modeling, and that's how we do it. And so now, how do you predict, and what do we focus on? So looking at syndicated studies and third-party customers like yourself, we say, okay, we can't focus on predictive maintenance on everything. So there's value to what model and what type of failure is more important. So look at things like batteries. I know it's hot right now because not just ICE vehicle, EV as well, but tires. And of course, we're looking at all those fault codes and all that. How can we triangulate everything and help our fleet customer, not just from a standpoint of, hey, you know what, in about 2 months, this is going to happen to your tires, but the whole end-to-end cycle where we plan, help the customers, okay, you're going to need, this is going to happen to your car, you need tire replacement, what can we do, schedule it out, and so there's actually bring value to the customer saying, this is how much money you're going to save. Because if you replace the battery or the tires too early, you take it offline, that's waste of time and downtime for our fleet customers. And that's what we're trying to avoid.
I'll have to add on to that.
Sure.
That transparency around there for the fleet customer is so important. I mean, so long the days of seeing a DTC code pop or, a mill indicator come on the dash and 10 fleets are going to repair it 10 different ways. 10 dealerships are going to repair it 10 different ways, and it's inefficient and ineffective. And when you could put something behind that explains what's happening and what's causing it and eventually staying ahead of it, it's so powerful.
It is, absolutely. So Dave, I want to focus a little bit on electrification. I think everyone's talking about electrification these days and where we're going with that. So can you help us understand from Ford Pro perspective, how are you using these technologies and features to enhance electrification and even autonomous features?
We've really listened to the customer, and I think we've heard that a lot today on the panel. And when we talked to our customers, the one thing they kept saying to us was about simplicity. There is a lot of confusion about how to take the EV journey. What steps do I take first? How does charging work? How does software work? How do the vehicles work? I have range anxiety. How do we get over these things? So from that standpoint, we've tried to create as simple and holistic of a solution as we possibly could, with software at the heart of it. Taking that great embedded modem data, taking it off the vehicles, bringing it into our intelligence platform. It gives the fleet the ability to understand how their fleet is operating, what's charging, what's not, critical data to make sure that their uptime is achieved, but also, working and embedding our software in our chargers. And we supply chargers as well because, again, we had to make it simple for our fleets to say, okay, listen, I don't know where to go. So we've tried to make a holistic solution that everyone can take advantage of. Recently there was in the press that Ecolab decided to go with us. They made a commitment to do and become an EV-only fleet by 2030, and we're helping them along with that journey. We're very proud to be a partner with them in that. So again, for us, it's been simplicity. Software has been at the heart of it, and that has really resonated with our customers.
Any follow-up for anyone else on that?
I'll add to that. The customers do need help in this planning. And so how can we help them use their own information to help in that journey and help in that planning, whether it's where to put the chargers or which vehicles would be the right ones based on their actual usage to make that transition. And we have, with their collaboration, we can help in guiding and making that decisions using their own data.
Absolutely. I think if there's one thing every fleet out there should understand is that the EV duty cycle it's a bit different than an ICE duty cycle. So
Absolutely.
make sure you're working with your partners to plan that out so that you're not disappointed with how you're operating on a daily basis.
Okay. Well, I think we have time for closing thoughts. I have tons of more questions for you, but unfortunately don't have that much more time. So closing thoughts, what would you want to leave the audience with in terms of, takeaways from what you've discussed today? We'll start with you, Dave.
Going back to my original statement, we talk to hundreds of thousands of our fleet customers every single day. Not every day, but close enough.
Yes.
And uptime is really what we keep hearing. Our customers and our fleets are saying we've got to keep our vehicles on the road, and if we don't keep them on the road, we're not in business. We're losing money every single day. So the conversation for us goes beyond telematics. And the way we view it and the way we think that the industry is going is that it's a far more inclusive solution. It's inclusive of EV charging. It's inclusive of telematics. It's inclusive of fleet management. It's inclusive of an integrated service and repair network into the system. You've got to close the loop to really add value to fleets. And you go from downtime of 2 or 3 days from a vehicle going into a repair shop and saying, okay, it's this module, this needs repair, we'll get the part in, and then suddenly you're 2-3 days off the road, as opposed to in a holistic integrated solution in a closed loop, you can then have that part ready to go because of the prognostics or analytics that sent it off, put it into fleet management group, go off, the dealer's got it ready, you're driving in and driving out in an hour, and you don't lose you have no downtime.
No downtime. Very, very important. I think everyone in this room wants no downtime.
Exactly.
Okay, Michelle, you next.
Yeah, so I'll just start by saying that, when OnStar launched in, I think it was 1996, it was really ahead of its time. And we continued to progress and innovate. And I think that now everyone's hungry for, all of the information and the intelligence that, comes from that connectivity. And it leads really well into the priorities that I think we've heard consistently over the past couple days with safety and using that intelligence from the vehicle to help the vehicles with uptime, preventing downtime, the drivers meeting their needs for the business. And I really look forward to the journey that I think we're all going to be on as we continue on this technology evolution and how we can use that in ways to best meet our collective customer needs to realize those business benefits.
Brandon?
Boy, you could take this a lot of ways. I'd say, the advice I'd give is change before you have to. I think it's finally happening in the industry where, we've been talking about this for so many years and it's been slow, and now it's really taking off from not only from a software and data and telematics perspective where there's real insights and use cases are being validated and there's real ROI, but also from an EV standpoint, right? Don't let it be a sustainability initiative that comes from the top down and you're forced to now make this decision. And you don't need to transition your whole entire fleet overnight, nor should you, right? There's tools out there that are going to help you identify which vehicles make sense to transition for what needs and what purposes. I'd say it's not perfect and it's going to take a while, and I don't know if it'll ever be perfect. We're all in this together, but take the leap, right? Focus on that 80%. You're going to fail a little bit along the way, but even if you start with one vehicle, maybe 2 vehicles, you'll learn, and you'll start with a charger and you'll figure out the infrastructure. You're going to face pushback. Where's the ROI, right? What are the residual values of the vehicle? How are the duty cycles and the maintenance cycles going to play out? And that'll all get figured out over time, right? Lean into your OEM partners, lean into your strategic ecosystem partners there. And I think if we all come together on this, that's the only way we're going to drive this forward. Otherwise, it's going to become overregulated. We're going to be forced into various boxes, and it's going to get even messier. So take the leap, have fun, because there's real savings, and there's also huge opportunity right now from tax incentives and other subsidies and rebates that are available at the federal level, at the regional level, that it'd be silly not to do it now before it becomes too late.
Chris?
So how much time do I have? I can talk for hours. So all seriousness, so if you look at the vehicles, what is it, right? It's a toolbox, a tool inside a toolbox. If you look at historically a decade ago, right? So the vehicle itself is great. It serves its purpose in your fleet, but there's not much intelligence there. So yes, there's data, but what is data? It relies on Geotab and to make more make this data become more, it's an intelligence thing. Now we probably hear this word a dozen times today already on software-defined vehicles. Now we're in a different amazing era now, right? So leverage on the fact that we're bringing new technologies to help whatever use case you want to look at. You know what? There's not a solution for every single problem you have, but take a leap of faith. Us OEM here are now, we did a lot on the vehicle side, but now the software side. Now we're going to take a very fast and evolution stage in the next couple of years. You'll see some new cool products. It's not cool in the fact that just nice to have, but it's cool the fact that it's going to save your business. Look at it, just like what Brandon said, it will help you with your own existing business, your ROI, or a matter of fact, it's even simple things like, let's make sure that these technologies, bring it out, try it out, and you'll see that it will help you with your business. That's my final conclusion, to help out.
Those are incredible takeaways. I think everyone has something that they can walk away here with. And some key things that I heard from everyone: open platforms, partnerships, customization, feedback, right?
Yeah.
Getting that feedback from our partners, really working together is going to make this future much, much brighter. So with that, that's all the time we have today for our questions. I want to thank our panelists, Dave from Ford Pro, Michelle from General Motors, Brandon from Rivian, and Chris from Stellantis. Thank you again, and a big round of applause for our panelists.